Anna was 17 years old when she fell in love for the first time. The person she admired was a classmate named Mark. Of course, she knew that her group of classmates would never accept a love between someone like Mark and a girl like her. However, Anna was content with simply loving him from a distance. The truth was, her classmates were somewhat afraid of her because there were some unpleasant rumors about her going around. Some people said she could cure any illness, while others claimed she was crazy and talked to an old woman named Juliet. In fact, Anna was very close to Mrs. Juliet. They often spent time together, and Anna learned more about her life. It turned out that Mrs. Juliet hadn't always lived far from the village like she did now. Moving away had been a necessary step back then when she couldn't help an important person in the village and ended up being blamed for it. She had to move to another house to avoid contact with the locals. Even though more than 30 years had passed since that incident, she still remembered every word each villager had said to her. Sometimes, Anna felt like her life was boring as it was now, and although she would soon grow up and move to the city, nothing would change. One day, she asked Mrs. Juliet how she could permanently get rid of the ability that she believed was preventing her from living a normal life. But the old woman replied that it wasn't possible to completely get rid of it. Well, of course, there are ways, but before doing that, you need to think carefully about whether you really want to remove it or not. There are others who dream of being able to see and communicate with spirits, to know things that ordinary people can't. I don't even know how to answer you. The truth is, I worry a lot that people will distance themselves from me, that they'll see something evil in me and be convinced that I can harm them. Either way, people always try to harm you. It's all because they're jealous, Mrs. Juliet said. Okay, Grandma, I'll keep this ability for a while longer, but honestly, maybe I should get rid of it. I didn't have a childhood because of this, and besides, I like a boy, but I'm sure he'll never be able to love me, Anna said. Don't say such silly things. People will get used to it quickly, nothing is wrong with you, Mrs. Juliet replied. Lately, Anna noticed that she spent most of her time with Mrs. Juliet, even more than with her own mother. Everyone was afraid of this old woman, and anything that needed to be conveyed to her had to go through Anna. Of course, new neighbors had come from the city. It turned out that a woman named Mary didn't care much about her husband, and to save her son, one day she packed up and left. The house they were living in now had been left to her by her grandmother. Mary was willing to do anything for her son. Anna knew that her mother was in contact with this wonderful woman, but unfortunately, Anna couldn't befriend her son, Luke. Today, Anna returned home from Mrs. Juliet's place, and it was already dark outside as autumn slowly approached. She walked toward her house and heard a confusing conversation and sobbing, as if someone was crying. She walked into the house and didn't see her mother in the kitchen. Her father was sitting there with a very sad expression. "Dad, where's Mom?" Anna asked, staring intently at her father. "Maybe she's at the neighbor's house." "Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard what happened?" "No, I haven't heard anything. I just came from Mrs. Juliet's. Mary's son drowned today," her father said. "How could he drown?" Anna's eyes widened in shock. "I don't know, there's a dark story behind it. Your mother is over there, trying to comfort her. Maybe the boy went to the lake on his own." "Yes, and honestly, I don't know anything more. Now, go wash up, and when your mother comes home, you can ask her," her father said. Anna went to her room, unable to comprehend what her father had just told her. She eagerly awaited her mother's return to explain what had happened. Unfortunately, her mother came home near dusk and didn't want to say much. It wasn't until the next morning that Caroline told Anna that Luke had indeed passed away. "But what happened?" Anna asked. "I really can't tell you anything. Mary is sure that Luke would never go to the lake on his own, and the police say it was just an accident. He was too young to swim by himself, as you know. We think that Mary won't come to see you. She wants to know the truth," Caroline replied. I'm sorry, but I won't be able to see her for the next 40 days. Luke's spirit will wander, and he certainly won't say anything to me. I don't know how she will wait for 40 days, Caroline shook her head. Then came the funeral, where Anna clearly saw the pain Mary was going through. She couldn't understand what had happened, but she was sure she would find out the truth. On the way back from the cemetery, Anna thought that Luke could never have gone to the lake on his own, but he also wasn't the kind of boy who would end his life like that. He really enjoyed the village and had many friends here. Anna was completely confused and didn't understand who was to blame. A few days later, Anna and her mother visited Mary. Caroline was very worried about her friend's life. As they entered the house, Anna was shocked to see a chaotic scene, and amidst the mess was Mary, crying and wiping her tears. "Mary, calm down," Caroline said, hugging her friend tightly. "I can't believe he's gone. I always wanted to protect him from this cruel world, that's why I came here," Mary cried, and Anna found it unbearable to watch. "I understand how you feel, but there's nothing we can change now," Caroline said while still holding Mary, who was crying and talking about how wonderful Luke was. Suddenly, Mary jumped up from the floor and ran over to Anna. "Anna, you know how to communicate with spirits. Can you help me?" "Of course, I can try, but I'm not sure." "It hasn't been 40 days yet," Anna replied. "Please, Anna, I beg you, this is very important to me. I need to know about Luke, I can't let this go," Mary pleaded. Anna sat Mary down on the chair and stood behind her, whispering for a few minutes. She made mistakes and had to start over, without success. Spirits and shadows kept appearing, although Anna understood why this was happening. "I'm sorry, I can't do it, something is blocking me, and I can't concentrate." "We'll have to wait 40 more days," Anna said, shaking her head. "It's so hard knowing that he won't come back home and having to wait another 40 days. I can't imagine how to go on," Mary said, crying again. "Everything will be fine, we'll figure it out. I promise, everything will work out. If someone is to blame, they will be punished. This won't end like this, don't worry," Anna reassured her. "Let's hope so," Mary responded. Anna and her mother went back home. Anna worried about Mary's condition, as it seemed like all she did was cry all day, without eating or leaving the house. "It's heartbreaking, may God never let anyone live like this," Anna's mother said. Finally, 40 days passed. Early in the morning, Mary rushed to Anna's house. "Anna, you must help me. I can't take it any longer. I'm sure Luke didn't drown on his own, someone must have had a hand in it. It's been 40 days, today is the 41st. "Okay, sit on the sofa," Anna instructed. Mary did as Anna said. The young girl stood behind her, placed her hands on Mary's shoulders, and started whispering something. Mary suddenly saw the spirit of her son walking into the room. He looked exactly as he had the last time she saw him, sitting down in front of her with a smile. "You can talk to him and find out whatever you need to know," Anna told her. Mary looked at her son, hypnotized. She had never imagined that the spirit world truly existed. "My dear, I miss you so much," Mary said. "I miss you too, Mom," Luke responded. "Tell me the truth, why did you do this?" Luke smiled and said that he would never have dared to end his life that way. "But how did it happen?" Mary asked, her eyes wide. "It was my dad who found me. He wanted to take me away with him. Of course, I didn't want to go with him, and he even hit me a few times. He forced me into the car and drove me to the city. He knew you wouldn't be able to handle it, so I jumped out of the car while it was moving. After realizing I wouldn't survive, he brought me to the lake," Luke explained. The story nearly made Mary faint. She couldn't believe her ex-husband was behind all of this. "My child, how can I prove that Matthew was involved in this?" Mary asked. "In the house, under the table, there's his lighter. He dropped it when he was trying to force me to go with him. Don't pick it up," his fingerprints are still on it. Also, when my dad came to our house, an old man who lives on the edge of the village saw him. He asked that old man for directions, Luke said. Mary stared at her son, wanting to hug him, but Anna wouldn't allow it. I want to hug him. No, you can't. He's not really here, it's just his spirit, Anna explained. Don't worry, Mom, I'm fine, Luke said, bringing tears to Mary's eyes again. Losing her son had been too much for her, and she truly didn't know how she would continue living. Her son had been the only reason she woke up each morning and went to work. After that, Luke stood up from the table, smiled at his mother, and quietly walked out the door. Mary cried even harder. She turned to Anna and hugged her tightly, saying, I don't think I can live without him. You can, you're a strong woman, and Luke doesn't want you to cry, Anna replied. This conversation with her son changed many things inside Mary. She took a deep breath and exhaled, feeling much lighter. Anna called the police officer to inform him that she knew who was responsible for Luke's death. However, the officer laughed at her and didn't believe that Anna could communicate with spirits. To him, this was all nonsense. I have evidence. The old man who lives at the edge of the village gave directions to my ex-husband. You have no idea how horrible my ex is, Mary insisted. In the end, Mary succeeded in opening a criminal case. The investigation revealed that Mary's ex-husband was indeed involved in Luke's death. He was prosecuted and is now under investigation. It's important to mention that Mary was deeply grateful to Anna. Without her, Mary would never have known the truth about what really happened to her son. After this event, Anna started to view her abilities differently. Many villagers began seeking her help, even those who previously didn't believe in her powers. When the mother of the boy Anna had a crush on came to her for help, Anna realized that she no longer wanted to give up her ability because it could be useful to society. Mark started paying more attention to her. Now, Anna studies in the city, and news of her abilities has spread across the country. People from other cities also come to seek her advice. Anna realized that Mrs. Juliet hadn't passed these abilities to her by accident, she simply needed someone to succeed her. Since Mrs. Juliet didn't have children, she chose Anna. Anna believed this wasn't a coincidence and hoped Mrs. Juliet was proud of her. Every time she returned home on the weekends, Anna always visited Mrs. Juliet. As for Mary, she still wasn't completely at peace, even though she had accepted that she would never see her son again. She couldn't forgive her ex-husband for what he had done. Mary was going through a difficult time but was doing her best to stay strong. This story would be remembered in the village for a long time. One winter, a large black car stopped in front of their house. Caroline ran to the door to see who had arrived and was so surprised she couldn't utter a word. It was her parents, the ones she hadn't spoken to in years. Caroline just stood there, unsure of what to say to them, but she was very curious to know who had told them her address. Hello, dear, her mother said softly. Hello, Mom, Caroline replied. So, this is where you live, her mother said, carefully observing the house. Peter is at work, so I'm home alone. Should I invite you inside, or are we going to stand out here? Caroline said. Come in, Caroline said. It was the weekend, so Caroline introduced her parents to their granddaughter, whom they had never met. Caroline felt a deep sadness seeing how much her parents had aged. Her mother was no longer as stern as she had been nearly 20 years ago. You know, I'm very sorry we weren't able to reconcile, her mother said. I'm sorry too. We could have been friends. All of this was because you didn't understand me, Caroline said. Forgive me, I realize now that I was wrong. I shouldn't have argued with you and put you in such a difficult situation. Caroline looked at her mother intently, then hugged her tightly. For the first time in her life, their family reunited in her home. I'd love for you both to stay for a few days. Peter will come home from work tonight, and we can gather as a family, Caroline suggested. You know, it's wonderful being here with you. We're very happy, her mother said, smiling. That evening, they sat around a large table, talking about everything that had happened over the past 20 years. Anna was born into an ordinary family, and she couldn't really remember when they had moved to this town. The family lived a stable life. Her father worked as a tractor driver, and her mother worked in a store. Anna went to school and never thought she would experience such a story. It's worth mentioning that Anna was a very bright girl, and other children always wanted to be around her. During her childhood, Anna dreamed of helping people when she grew up and being loved by everyone. However, as a child, she couldn't imagine what real life would be like. Anna had many friends and was hardly ever home, she was always out with someone. She liked living in this town and appreciated that the people here were so different. Anna excelled in school, and her mother hoped that everything would turn out well for her daughter in the future, that she would graduate with honors and have a good job. Her mother dreamed of Anna leaving this place and not wasting her life. Caroline feared that her daughter wouldn't have a good job here and that her life wouldn't go smoothly. 10 years ago, Caroline and her husband moved to this town because their savings weren't enough to buy a house in the city. So, they decided to move here, despite Caroline coming from a wealthy family, though now she lived like an ordinary person. All of this was because Caroline chose love over the money her father offered. She never regretted it, but she knew her parents would probably never forgive her. With horror, she recalled how she had fought with her parents. They didn't want Caroline to be involved with the man they deemed useless. Her father was certain that Peter only wanted money from their family and didn't care about anything else. One fine day, Caroline simply climbed out of her window and left with Peter to be with him. She truly loved the young man she had met in college and could never have imagined that love would be so strong that she would be willing to sacrifice everything for him. And even now, after all these years, she didn't regret it. Peter had done everything to ensure that each morning when she woke up, Caroline felt happy. Her parents didn't seek her out because she had left them a letter explaining that, whether they liked it or not, she was going to marry him. Their communication ended there. Her parents were very strict, so when they found out that Caroline had married the man they despised, they disowned her and immediately cut her out of their inheritance, making no effort to mend the relationship. Now, Caroline was married to the man she loved, raising her daughter, and hoping that at least her daughter would have everything go well in life. Anna loved it here and was doing great in school. Thank you for watching the video all the way through. You are our biggest motivation to keep creating. Let us know where you're watching from so we can see how far this video has reached around the world. Don't forget to hit like if you found it interesting, and share it with your friends too. She had many friends and was a wonderful child, until one day when she went for a walk in the forest with her friends. In that forest lived Mrs. Juliet, a woman who wasn't very well liked in the village. People whispered and said that Juliet was strange and could easily harm even the healthiest person. Perhaps that's why her house was deep in the forest, far away from anyone else. Anna had never met her, but she had heard plenty about her. Truthfully, Anna wasn't afraid of this mysterious woman, who had both helped and harmed others. People talked about her in many ways, some said good things, and others said bad. The children were playing so happily that they didn't realize they had come near Mrs. Juliet's house. Anna, do you want to see the old lady's house? It's right in front of you, Isabel said with excitement. Oh, that house looks awful, Anna exclaimed, her eyes wide. Do you want to meet her? Isabel teased. No, thanks. Maybe some other time, Anna replied. Just then, a storm began brewing, and the children were about to head home but couldn't. The sky darkened with thunder rumbling, making it all very frightening, and the kids started to worry. We need to get out of here before it's too late. I totally agree with you, Anna laughed. It really is getting scary, like we're in some kind of bad fairy tale. Girls, I'm starting to get scared. Let's get out of here quickly, one of Anna's friends said. We should stick together, but come on, we haven't even seen anything here yet, Anna protested. Anna, I don't think this is the best time to look around. Look, the sky is pitch black, and it's really scary." Just then, a loud clap of thunder sounded, and a lightning bolt struck a tree behind the old woman's house, and the girls began to scatter. "Run! Something terrible is happening here," one of the girls screamed. They all scattered in different directions. Anna was confused and didn't know where to go. She ran into an open clearing and, in the distance, saw the old woman everyone always talked about. Anna was terrified and ran back toward the house. She was panicking and unsure where to go. She ran as fast as she could, but at the edge of the forest, a lightning bolt struck her. Anna fell to the ground. At that moment, a forest ranger walking by saw what had happened and quickly ran to the village to call for help. In less than 20 minutes, a crowd had gathered. Some people cried, some prayed, and Anna's mother sat beside her, trying to revive her, but Anna wasn't breathing. "Anna, wake up, Anna. I can't live without you," her mother sobbed beside her. The people around began whispering. "She's not going to make it." "That was a strong hit," someone in the crowd said. "It's rare for anyone to survive a storm like this. Very rare. No one has the right to say my daughter won't survive. I've done everything I can to save her. Back away. Why are you even here?" Anna's mother yelled in anger. "My daughter will live. You'll see. Everything will be fine. Get away from her," the old woman, Juliet, said as she approached. "Everyone, step back, I'll save the girl," she commanded. Anna's mother stared at the old woman, and at that moment, she felt that Juliet might actually be able to help, even though she had never liked her and thought she was a frightening person. But she decided to follow her instructions. The old woman knelt down beside the girl and began whispering something. The crowd watched in amazement because no one had ever seen Juliet up close before, and everyone believed that rather than being an old woman, she was a monster wearing a scarf. Juliet whispered incantations carefully, gently stroking the girl's head. "Come on, wake up, everything will change, everything will be okay, open your eyes," she said while murmuring. "Come on, little one, wake up," she repeated. Everyone watched intently. "Look, she's starting to breathe," someone in the crowd shouted. Anna's mother also looked at her daughter, and indeed, she had opened her eyes. Now, she looked at the world with a completely different gaze, remembering very little about how she ended up there or what had happened. But when she saw her mother in the crowd, she smiled. Caroline rushed over to Anna, knelt beside her daughter, and began kissing her. "Sweetheart, I'm so happy you're okay." "Mom, what happened?" "You were struck by lightning," Caroline replied. Caroline wanted to thank the old woman, Juliet, but when she looked up, Juliet had disappeared. It must be said that no one in the crowd noticed when Juliet left. Half an hour later, they had returned home. Caroline laid Anna down on the sofa and started asking her how she ended up in the forest. "Mom, I don't remember anything. I remember I was walking with my friends near the house, and then everything went blurry," Anna replied. "You're not going back there again," Caroline said. "You don't remember anything about that old woman? She had a very scary look, but for some reason, I liked her. It's strange." When Caroline put her daughter to sleep, she went into the kitchen. While sipping a cup of tea, she told her husband what had happened that day and who had helped them. "And why are you so surprised? I've told you before that she brought my grandfather back from the brink of death. I don't even know how old she is, and no one knows. Somehow, she saved our daughter in a way that no ordinary person could, and I haven't even thanked her yet. We should visit her tomorrow morning and bring something to show our gratitude." "That's not a good idea. To be honest, every time I see her, I get goosebumps," Peter confessed. "Don't worry, we'll be fine," Caroline replied. Caroline stayed in the kitchen with her husband for a long time, discussing life and how they would soon have to go into the city to buy a new coat for their daughter. Only after sorting out these important matters did the woman finally go to bed. The next morning, when Anna woke up, she heard sounds that seemed to be coming from outside the window. She looked out, but there was no one there, yet the sounds continued, as if voices were talking about something. There were so many sounds that Anna couldn't make out a single word. "Mom, come here," she yelled. A few minutes later, Caroline came into the room, sat down beside Anna, and looked at her intently. "Mom, I don't understand what's happening. But I hear voices, so many that I can't tell what they're saying. There's no one out there, and no one on the street either. You're just imagining it. Sometimes that happens after being struck by lightning. Hopefully, it'll pass because right now I can't even concentrate," Caroline said. "We're going to visit the old woman, Juliet. If you want, you can come with us to thank her." "Yes, I'll come," Anna agreed, feeling a bit more cheerful. That afternoon, the family got into their old car and drove toward the forest to talk to the old woman and, of course, to thank her. Anna sat in the back seat, staring out the window, still trying to make sense of what was happening to her, but the voices grew clearer. "Tell her to help me, you need to show her this, she doesn't know anything yet." All these phrases were spoken by different voices, and Anna began to feel scared. They arrived at the old woman's house, and her parents went to find her to express their gratitude. However, there was no sign of the old woman at the house. "That's strange, where could she have gone? She always seemed to be in the forest," Caroline thought aloud. "I think I know where she is. We should go to the clearing in the forest," Anna said. "Let's take a walk," Caroline agreed. Sure enough, Juliet was there, gathering herbs and putting them into a bag. Honestly, she was quite surprised that they had returned. She smiled when she saw Anna, then stood up from the ground and walked toward her. "Ma'am, we wanted to thank you. You did an incredible thing by saving our daughter," Anna's father said. "There's no need to thank me. I didn't do anything special," the old woman replied. They chatted for a little longer, and as Caroline and Peter were heading back to the car, Anna suddenly turned to the old woman. "What's happening to me? I hear unclear voices, and they're asking me for help," Anna whispered so her parents wouldn't hear. However, her parents noticed that Anna was staying behind, and her mother quickly walked back toward the old woman. "Anna, it's because I couldn't save you any other way. Now, you can communicate with spirits. They're the ones bothering you," Juliet admitted. Anna's eyes widened in surprise. Could she have imagined hearing something like this? "I don't understand, what spirits? What are they talking about?" Caroline asked, confused. "Anna, these are the spirits of the deceased. You need to develop this ability, and then everything will be fine," Juliet smiled. That smile made Anna feel uncomfortable. Had Anna asked the old woman to give her some special ability? No, she had just wanted to live, but it seemed that you couldn't get one without the other. "Come on, Anna, let's go home," her mother ordered. "Mom, you go ahead, I'll be there soon," Anna replied. Her mother looked at her daughter closely but eventually returned to the car, understanding that they needed to talk. "Grandma, will it always be like this?" Anna asked. "No, you just need to learn to listen to the silence and ignore what they're saying. Eventually, it will take time for you to understand what these spirits want from you. Can you come see me so I can help you with some things?" Juliet replied. "Of course, I can come. This is my ability, and I will teach you how to use it," she said. Anna ran toward her parents, still not fully understanding what the old woman's words meant, but she was very curious to see how the story would end. The next day, Anna went to Juliet's house. She wanted to get rid of the constant noise in her head that had made it impossible for her to live in peace. From that day on, Juliet began teaching Anna everything she knew. "Grandma, didn't you ever have children of your own?" "No, I never had anyone." "But why didn't you ever want to be a mother?" "Maybe I did want to at some point, but if I had, would have lost my ability. It was a difficult choice, and unfortunately, I chose this ability. Do I regret it now? I don't know what to say. In some ways, yes, but in other ways, no. Anna spent a lot of time with Juliet and came to understand that the old woman wasn't as scary as people made her out to be. Over time, with each day spent with Juliet, Anna began to understand more and more about what was happening to her. By the time Anna was 13, she could summon the spirits of the deceased. Her parents were genuinely surprised. Rumors about Anna quickly spread, and many people began seeking her help. However, some people viewed her with suspicion. Opinions about her were divided, but Anna didn't care, she enjoyed what she did. People from the city often came to her to help find lost items. Anna called upon the spirits and asked them for guidance. Of course, after Anna became special, she almost lost all her friends. Many people began to fear her and rarely invited her to play. She grew up, and by the time she was 15, she had earned quite a bit of money. No, she didn't charge people for her services, most people voluntarily left a bit of money. Also, television stations began visiting her more frequently, eager to report on the young girl. Time passed quickly, and Anna realized that this was her mission. She loved helping people and believed she was doing the right thing. Her parents accepted Anna's uniqueness and no longer commented on it. One day, her mother even took advantage of Anna's ability to communicate with spirits. Caroline wanted to know how her parents had felt about her at the time and decided to summon the spirit of Anna's grandmother. "Mom, pray, Grandma will appear now," Anna said, looking at Caroline. But Caroline still didn't believe until the very last moment that it could actually happen. However, right in front of her eyes, the figure of her beloved grandmother appeared clearly. This can't be real. It must just be my imagination, Caroline thought. "Mom, only you can see Grandma's spirit, but you can talk to her," Anna said. "Grandma, I'm so happy to see you. I only have a few questions for you. How are my parents? Have they forgiven me?" Caroline asked. The figure of her grandmother smiled gently. "Caroline, you've grown so much, and your daughter is very talented. As for your parents, they forgave you a long time ago. They've dreamed of meeting their granddaughter. It's such a shame I didn't introduce Anna to them sooner. They might have reconciled with my choice," Grandma added. After the conversation with her grandmother's spirit, Caroline took some time to believe that her parents were ready to forgive and reconcile. However, Caroline still had doubts because she vividly remembered her mother once saying, "It's either love or a good life," and couldn't imagine her parents putting her in such a difficult situation. That day was Sunday, and Anna woke up early and immediately went to help her mother. It was apple jam making day, and Caroline was outside in the yard cutting apples for the jam. "Mom, let me help you," Anna offered. "Sure, if you want to help, sit down and grab a knife," Caroline replied. Anna sat next to her mother and began cutting the apples. Suddenly, a large truck pulled up in front of the neighbor's house, and two burly men got out and began unloading furniture. "I wonder who will be living there now." "I heard the house was sold," Caroline said. "Looks like we're going to have new neighbors," Anna thought aloud in response. Soon, another truck arrived, and from it, a woman and a child, who looked about 2 or 3 years younger than Anna, stepped down. The woman's expression was tense, and she held the child's hand tightly as they hurried into the house. "They seem a bit strange, like they're afraid of something," Caroline observed. "You're right, but having neighbors is still better than having nobody around," Anna said with a smile. "I agree with you. Sometimes that house scares me, especially during storms or when the wind is strong. It always creaks and groans," Caroline added. Anna smiled but said nothing. The truth was, Caroline had been speaking to Anna as though she were an adult for a long time. She knew that Anna would never be the same as before. The ability her daughter possessed was a huge responsibility and placed a special burden on her. People often didn't understand Anna, sometimes calling her nonsense, but they always sought her advice when they needed help. One day, a man came to see Anna, desperately asking her for help with a problem. You see, everything was fine, and then suddenly she disappeared, the man said, sitting across from Anna. It's been a month, and I still can't find her anywhere. Have you gone to the police? Anna asked calmly. I have, but who's going to take my report seriously? I'm a complete stranger to her, just some random guy. Her parents won't talk to me either, as if I've done something wrong. All right, I'll call on the spirits, and they will tell me everything they know and have seen, Anna said. Anna asked the man to sit on the sofa, and then she stood behind him, placing her hands on his shoulders. She started whispering continuously, making sounds that made the man feel uncomfortable. Look, now I will show you everything, Anna said. The man was clearly frightened, he could actually see the spirits of his deceased relatives. He was uneasy with what was happening through Anna, and in the eyes of many, he had just spoken with his father, who revealed that the young woman had simply left with someone else and had no intention of returning. After the séance ended, the man's hands trembled because he had never faced anything like this before. Thank you very much, at least now I know that she's left me. I hope that sooner or later she'll come back. She won't come back to you. She's chosen someone else, and you need to accept that, Anna said. Anna was happy to help strangers, but what they uncovered during the séances wasn't always what they truly wanted to hear. However, she always told the truth and never lied.